Alright, Carrie, here's my wall cabinet. So I've got it presented as a panel. I do this basically for graphic reasons. When I'm building and presenting, this just builds in my filler. I don't have to add this in my drawings. And it also serves a functional purpose for the cabinet, which you'll see in a second. So when I import a wall single door cabinet, this is what it looks like. Go in here. Oops. Okay, so this is my spacing interior. So I have a 2 1/8 inch spacing up here. This is my top stretcher, and this is a fixed shelf. So this represents the top of my interior of my cabinet. Okay, and here's the face again. And then we'll go look at the product here so you can see a little bit better. Nope. And let's turn on some detail and get rid of this. Actually, let's move to wireframe here. All right, so wireframe, this allows us to see the side view here. So as you can see with this setup, I have my, let's fill it in, door overlaps that fixed shelf by about a little over 1/2 inch right here. So I have a place to put my bumper. If I want to put an upper bumper here, I can put my bumper and it has a place for the door to land. Okay. You can see on the bottom, here's where my frameless rail works on the bottom. This is how it sits on the cabinet. Hold on. Okay. It's notched out. This is for visual purposes for you only. I have this part deleted, so it never makes this part. But I just make my own. I make my own frameless rail, and if it's one cabinet, I'll cut a 12 inch for one cabinet. If it's a run of 3 cabinets combined for 6 foot, I'll cut a 6 foot piece. Easy. Same thing with my uppers here. I'll cut a 12 inch or a 6 foot piece. One piece, nailed on, done. So let's get rid of the door. So you can see I've got a frameless rail here, and then I've got my top into my frameless rail. I like this, this is a 3 inch stretcher. I don't do the back one. I do this one up here because then I have a nice place to grab it during transport, and I can also fully, whenever I transport my uppers, I always put them top down. Like this will go on the floor of the van, because if there's going to be any damage, I don't care at all about this upper side because it's all hidden in the end. So that's all for transport logistic processes. And here we will go back into high detail again, and we'll explode a little bit. And I do dado all this in so it's really easy to build. That's basically it. One thing that I am going to start doing now that I've got it figured out a little bit better, I was doing a, why does it do that? I was doing, however long my piece was, I was doing a pocket hole on each end here, and then using a trim GRK screw like in the middle of the cabinet down. I think I've just got this process dialed in within the last couple months. I think I'm just going to start lamelloing these. Just, 2 lamellos will be fine, I feel like. My only concern is like maybe this rocking back and forth, but I think it'll be okay. Lamellos keep it pretty tight. So other than that, that's it. And then, so every upper panel, I was finishing some ends, and I also don't do that anymore either. I was finishing like the actual side of the cabinet. It's just way too time consuming. That cabinet takes up space, and I've got to finish this whole part and tape and plastic everything. I've gone now, I'm back to exclusively just doing panels. And I'll do my panel full height of my cabinet plus my 1.5 here. And then I always run my panels an extra 1/2 inch back. So plus my door plus my 1/2 inch so that I can scribe that panel to the wall. Every panel gets scribed to the wall for me. That's just my style. So same thing with base end panels. They get an extra 1/2 inch on the floor side and an extra 1/2 inch on the wall side, and they get scribed to fit. But yeah, and so then that extra 1.5 inch on that panel allows this frameless rail just to have a place to just die right into. And then of course when the door gets exposed back on, you get your frameless rail and you get a place to hide your stuff. You get that nice decorative feature. Okay, that's it.